Sophia Moretti stood in the driveway of her daughter's sprawling suburban home in Raleigh, North Carolina, her arms laden with a tray of homemade cannoli and a bouquet of wildflowers she'd picked from her modest backyard garden. At 72, she still moved with the quiet grace of a woman who'd spent decades threading needles and stitching dreams into reality. Her navy blue dress, one she'd sewn herself years ago, hugged her slight frame, its simple elegance a testament to her skill as a seamstress. It was Mother's Day, and the May sun warmed her wrinkled cheeks as she rang the doorbell, her heart swelling with anticipation. She'd always cherished these family gatherings, where she could wrap her grandkids in hugs and feel, for a moment, like the centre of their world. The door swung open, and her granddaughter Lily, all of 9 years old, barreled into her. "Nonna?" "Sophia!" she squealed, her pigtails bouncing. Sophia laughed, nearly dropping the cannoli as she returned the hug. Her grandson, Ethan, 12, lingered in the doorway, offering a shy wave. Inside, the house smelled of roasted chicken and fresh bread, the kind of warmth that reminded Sophia of her own kitchen, growing up in an Italian-American neighborhood in Philadelphia. Her daughter, Carla, emerged from the kitchen, wiping her, hands on a checkered apron. "Mom, you made it," she said, her smile tight, not quite reaching her hazel eyes. Her husband, Greg, gave a curt nod from the couch, his eyes flicking back to the baseball game on TV. "Wouldn't miss it," Sophia said, setting the cannoli on the dining table. She smoothed her dress, feeling a flutter of pride. Mother's Day was her day, a rare moment when she felt seen for the decades she'd poured into her family. She'd raised Carla single-handedly after her husband Tony left when Carla was 4, leaving behind nothing but a scribbled note. "I'm not cut out for this. Sorry." Sophia had worked late nights at a textile factory, her fingers calloused from sewing, to put Carla through college. She'd sold her mother's heirloom earrings to cover Carla's nursing school tuition, and when Carla married Greg, Sophia had dipped into her savings for a $15,000 contribution to their wedding. Later, she'd given them $20,000 for the down. Payment on this very house, a brick colonial with a manicured lawn. When their kids came along, Sophia was there, babysitting, sewing Halloween costumes, and mending Greg's work shirts without ever asking for a dime. The living room buzzed with chatter as Carla called everyone to the table. "We've got a surprise for you, Mum," she said, pulling a quilted square from a basket. It was patchwork, clearly handmade, with colourful fabric scraps stitched together. "The kids helped make it. We all wrote something special for you. Read it out loud. Okay, so everyone can hear." Sophia's heart swelled. She ran her fingers over the quilt, recognising the fabric, scraps from dresses she'd sewn for Carla over the years. "This is beautiful," she said, her voice thick with emotion. She cleared her throat and began to read the embroidered. Words aloud, her voice steady and proud. "Roses are red, violets are blue." She paused, expecting something sweet, something heartfelt. But the next words hit her like a slap. "Your thread's worn out. Your time's overdue. You're a weight on our lives, it's time you withdrew. Love your family who's done with you." The room went silent for a heartbeat. Then Greg let out a barking laugh. Carla covered her mouth, but her shoulders shook with suppressed giggles. Even Lily and Ethan snickered, caught up in the adults' amusement. Sophia's hands trembled, the quilt slipping from her fingers to the floor. Her throat tightened, and tears stung her eyes. What is this?" she whispered. "Oh, Mom, it's just a joke," Carla said, still chuckling. "You should have seen your face. Greg, did you get a picture?" Greg grinned, holding up his phone. "Got it. Priceless, Sophia. You looked like you saw a ghost." Sophia's legs felt like jelly. She sank onto a chair, the wildflowers she'd brought wilting in their vase, on the table. "A joke," she managed, her voice cracking. "You think this is funny?" Carla's laughter faded, but there was no warmth in her eyes. "Come on, Mum. Don't be so dramatic. You've always been so sensitive." She sat across from Sophia, folding her arms. "But, maybe it's time we talk. You're not getting any younger. There are some great senior communities. Around here, you'd be more comfortable and we could, live our lives. Senior communities? Sophia repeated, the words tasting like ash. Her own daughter, the girl she'd raised, wanted to shuffle her off like an old coat. Greg leaned forward, his tone patronising. Yeah, Sophia, we've been thinking. You're over here a lot and it's a lot. You need care we can't give. It's time to be realistic. Lily tugged at Sophia's sleeve, her brown eyes wide. Nonna, why are you crying? Before Sophia could answer, Carla pulled Lily away. She's fine, sweetie. Just being sentimental. Sophia stared at the quilt on the floor, its cruel words burning into her memory. She stood, her knees shaking, and grabbed her purse. I need to go. Okay, Mum, Carla said, not even standing to see her out. We'll call you later. Sophia walked to her car, the spring air now cold against her skin. She drove home to her small bungalow, the one she'd lived in for 40 years, and collapsed onto her couch. The tears came then, hot and endless, until her eyes were dry and her chest ached. But as the night wore on, something shifted inside her. The humiliation hadn't just broken her, it had woken her up. She wasn't a burden. She was the one who'd held this family together, and they didn't even know the half of it. In the quiet of her living room, Sophia sat in her favourite armchair, a faded green relic where she'd once rocked Carla to sleep. She pulled out a locked wooden box from under her sewing table, one she hadn't opened in years. Inside were bank statements, deeds, and a yellowed letter from her Aunt Rosa, a renowned dressmaker in New York. Rosa had left Sophia a small storefront in Brooklyn's Dumbo neighbourhood when she died 15 years ago. Sophia had never visited, leasing it out through a property manager, letting the rental income pile up in an account she never touched. She'd always thought she'd save it for Carla, for the grandkids. But now, staring at the papers, she saw the truth. Her family didn't deserve it. Sophia's mind rewound through the years. She'd been 28 when Tony left, leaving her with a toddler and a mountain of bills. She'd worked double shifts at a garment factory, her fingers bleeding from rushed stitches, to keep food on the table. When Carla wanted to go to nursing school, Sophia sold her mother's gold earrings, worth $5,000 to cover the tuition. Mum, are you sure? Carla had asked, her eyes wide with gratitude. Of course, sweetheart, Sophia had said. Your dreams are worth it. When Carla married Greg, Sophia paid $15,000 for the wedding, sewing Carla's gown herself over sleepless nights. When they bought this house, she gave them $20,000 for the down payment, depleting her savings. When Lily and Ethan were born, Sophia was there every morning, walking 8 blocks to their house to babysit, sewing their clothes, patching their jeans, and teaching them to thread needles. Nonna, you're the best, Ethan used to say, his small hands clutching her scissors. But over time, the gratitude faded. Carla started dismissing Sophia's suggestions about the kids' diets or school projects. Mum, we've got this, she'd snap. Greg began making snide comments. Sophia, you're not as quick with the needle as you used to be. When Greg lost his job 3 years ago, Sophia sent them $600 a month to cover their mortgage, even skipping her own doctor visits to save money. Greg found work again, but the payments never stopped. They just expected them. When the kids needed laptops for school, Sophia spent $1,800. When Carla's car needed repairs, another $3,000. When they renovated their kitchen, Sophia chipped in $10,000. She never asked for thanks, but she hadn't expected to be mocked. Last year, Sophia overheard Greg on the phone while she was folding laundry at their house. Yeah, my mother-in-law's getting clingy, he said. She's always around meddling. We're looking at retirement homes, it's time. Sophia had frozen, her heart pounding. Retirement homes. She wasn't sick, wasn't frail. She still sewed custom dresses for neighbours, still tended her garden, but to them she was just old. The final straw had been 6 months ago, at Ethan's 12th birthday. Sophia arrived with a handmade quilt for him, each patch embroidered, with memories of their time together, She'd spent weeks on it, her fingers aching from the needlework. But when she presented it, Carla barely glanced at it. "That's sweet, Mum, but he's into video games now." Greg's mother, Diane, who'd been invited to help set up, got all the praise for the store-bought cake. Sophia sat in a corner, watching Diane bask in the family's attention while her quilt lay forgotten under a pile of wrapping paper. Now, holding Rosa's letter, Sophia's resolve hardened. The letter detailed the Brooklyn storefront, a 2-story space with a shop, below and a loft above, perfect for a small design studio. Rosa had written, "Sophia, you have a gift. Don't let it stay in the shadows." Sophia had ignored the call, too busy raising Carla, too focused on her family's needs. But no more. The Mother's Day quilt had been her wake-up call. It was time to stitch her own future. The next morning, Sophia woke with a fire in her chest. She put on her best outfit, a tailored blazer and skirt she'd made for Carla's graduation, and drove to her bank. Her financial advisor, Mr. Carter, blinked in surprise when she marched in. "Mrs. Moretti, what's the occasion?" "I'm taking control of my life," she said, her voice steady. Over the next hour, she cancelled the $600 monthly transfers to Carla's account, closed their joint emergency account, which only they used, and checked her Brooklyn Properties account. The rental income had grown to $320,000 over 15 years. She nearly gasped. All this time she'd lived frugally, wearing the same dresses, skipping vacations, while her family lived large on her dime. Next, she visited her lawyer, Ms. Harper, a sharp woman who'd handled Sophia's small legal matters for years. "I'm rewriting my will," Sophia announced. Ms. Harper raised an eyebrow. "This is big, Sophia. You sure?" "I've never been surer." Sophia explained her plan. Her estate, including the Brooklyn property, would go to a non-profit that taught sewing to at-risk youth. She set up a trust for Lily and Ethan, accessible at 25, but only if they maintained genuine contact with her. No strings, no obligations. "I'm done being their ATM," she said. Ms. Harper nodded, scribbling. Notes. "This is bold, Sophia. You're rewriting your legacy." "It's not rewriting," Sophia said. "It's reclaiming." Her final stop was a travel agency. She'd researched the Brooklyn property online, a charming brick building in Dumbo, steps from the waterfront. The lease was ending in a month. "I need a one-way ticket to New York," she told the agent. "First class." "First class?" The agent grinned. "Special occasion?" Sophia smiled. "A new beginning. Back. Home." She sat at her sewing table, pulling out creamy stationery she'd saved for years. She wrote 2 letters, her pen steady despite the weight of the words. To Carla. "My dearest daughter, by the time you read this, I'll be in Brooklyn, living in the property I inherited from Aunt Rosa, a place you never knew existed, because I never thought I'd need to tell you. For years I gave you everything, my savings, my time, my love. I paid for your education, your wedding, your home, your life. But on Mother's Day, you showed me what I mean to you. A burden, a joke. The quilt was the final cut, but the wound started long ago when you stopped seeing me as your mother and started seeing me as your servant. I've cancelled the monthly payments, closed our joint account and changed my will. My money will now help young people learn the craft I love. Your children have a trust, but only if they choose to know me for who I am, not what I can give. Don't call me for money. Don't send the kids to guilt me. If you want your mother back, you'll need to earn her respect. Your mother, who's finally sewing her own story, Sophia." To Greg. "Greg, I welcomed you as a son, but you saw me as an inconvenience. I overheard you planning to move me to a retirement home, as if I were clutter in your perfect life. You didn't know I've been funding that life, $20,000 for your house, $600 a month when you were jobless, thousands more for your kids and your comfort. I have a property in Brooklyn, investments you never dreamed of, and a talent you dismissed. I'm done being your silent benefactor. You'll need to stand on your own now. Good luck." She sealed the letters, left them on her kitchen table, and packed a single suitcase. The next morning, she boarded a flight to New York, the first-class seat feeling like a throne. As the plane soared over the Atlantic, Sophia looked out at the clouds, her heart lighter than it had been in years. In Brooklyn, the Dumbo storefront was everything she'd imagined, a cosy brick building with wide windows and a loft upstairs. The street bustled with young artists, coffee shops, and the distant glimmer of the Manhattan skyline. Sophia spent her first week cleaning the space, her hands steady as she swept away years of dust. She hung a sign, Sophia's Atelier. The name felt like a promise. She used her savings to buy industrial sewing machines, bolts of vibrant fabric, and a sleek laptop to manage orders. Word spread quickly. A 72-year-old seamstress opening a design studio in trendy Dumbo was news. Local bloggers stopped by, charmed by her story. Sophia taught free sewing classes to teens from underserved neighbourhoods, her warm smile and steady hands guiding them through their first stitches. "You're never too old to start something new," she'd tell them, her eyes bright. Within months, Sophia's designs, elegant dresses blending classic Italian craftsmanship with modern flair, caught the eye of a boutique owner. Orders poured in, and soon her atelier was featured in a local fashion magazine. A young designer, Maya, asked to apprentice under her. "You remind me of my grandma," Maya said, threading a needle. "She never got to chase her dreams." Sophia smiled, her heart full. She was building a new family, one that valued her. Evening. As she locked up the atelier, her phone buzzed. It was Carla, her voice small. "Mum, I got your letter. I didn't know about the Brooklyn place. I'm sorry. We didn't mean to hurt you." Sophia paused, the Manhattan lights twinkling across the river. "Carla, words don't undo years of neglect. If you want to fix this, you'll need to show. Me, not tell me." "I will, Mom. I promise." Sophia hung up, her heart steady. She didn't need their apologies to feel whole. She had her atelier, her students, her purpose. For the first time in decades, she was stitching a life that was hers alone.